Hello and welcome to Inspiring Perth Academy. And over the course of February, we'll be bringing you 4 interviews with 4 different people from across different industries in Scotland, with the aim of showing you that there are loads of different options after you leave school.
We hope that you'll be able to learn something from our inspiring guests and that this may help you with future pathways through Perth Academy and beyond.
Joining us today on Inspiring Perth Academy is the CEO of Young Scot, the co-chair of the First Minister's National Advisory Council on Women and Girls, and an OBE recipient, Louise MacDonald.
Louise, thank you so much for coming on.
It's great to see you both. Thanks for having me along.
So, Louise, could you tell us a bit about, for those of the viewers who don't know you, what do you do? What's your job?
So my job is I'm Chief Executive at Young Scot, which is the Young People's Youth Information Charity. Most people will probably know Young Scot because of their Young Scot card, and they'll probably know their Young Scot card because they hate the photo on it. And I'm asked a lot about whether I can fix that, and I can probably talk to people later about that. And as Chief Executive, basically I just kind of make sure that everyone in the team has everything that they need in order to do their jobs really, really brilliantly. Because if they do their jobs brilliantly, then young people get great services, and that's what we're all about.
And what led you to your current position at Young Scot?
Oh, it's quite a long route. I think I actually counted not that long ago, and I think I've had 11 different jobs. So I started off like everyone, stacking shelves in the supermarket and doing all of that kind of stuff as my summer jobs. But my first kind of career, if you like, was I was a journalist. So I was a journalist in newspapers and in local newspapers down in England, in the Midlands and the northeast of England, and also then on big sort of national tabloids up here in Scotland. So I did that for a while. But then I went into journalism because I believe knowledge is power. Yeah, and that if you have more knowledge, then you have more power and you're able to act. And so that really I wasn't seeing enough. Didn't feel like I was making enough of a difference, really. So I changed career and I moved into the kind of community sector. So I did things like running a volunteer centre, and they'll have them in Perth and whatever, where you're supporting people to get involved in volunteering. And that's where I discovered I really loved working with young people. And I loved how what I was seeing is young people just wanted to help and wanted to volunteer and be part of their communities. But that wasn't the story that was being told about young people. When I was with adults, they were all like, oh, young people don't care. And I was like, no, young people really care. I'm seeing it every single day. So that's what then got me really switched on to working with young people. So I then moved into a national role, looking at youth volunteering and so on. And from there, combined my journalism skills and my community work skills and started focusing more on kind of community learning and development and so on. And then I got the job at Young Scot, and I was originally the communications director. And then they had a big open recruitment competition when the previous chief executive left, and I was really lucky and managed to get the job. And I've been doing that ever since. So I've been chief executive for 12 years.
Fantastic. So it's obviously been quite a long journey. Is there any one moment you think that stands out as just one thing that you're really, really proud of?
Oh, my goodness. I've probably got lots, and they tend to be when I'm in a really lucky position where I speak to kind of young people, and a project that they've been involved in with Young Scot or a piece of information that they got from Young Scot really made a difference to their lives.
And I was just wondering if Young Scot is doing anything during COVID-19 just to help some pupils to offer support or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. We have, Tom, we've been doing lots for young people because we really appreciate how difficult this has been for young people. So we've worked really hard, along with lots of partner organisations too, but we've worked really hard, first and foremost, to make sure young people get accurate information in relation to COVID and the pandemic. So very, very quickly last March, we created a specialist site, a digital platform just on COVID-19 information for young people. And lots of that content is also co-created by young people themselves. So we've got a young people's panel and an editorial group of young people who help us kind of create content relating to that. And so we are uploading content to that virtually every single day. So anytime there's a new announcement, the team put the information up within, just a couple of hours to make sure that young people have got a kind of go-to source of accurate information. Because I think that's also a thing, the worry about disinformation and, all the kind of, all that kind of stuff that comes in that nobody's quite sure where it's come from. So what we're trying to do is make sure that young people have accurate information at all times. So that we've got a site that's just for that. But we're also running that content on our social channels. So we're running that content on Instagram and on TikTok and on Snapchat as well. So young people can find that content, because it's important to go, if you've got that kind of information, to go where young people are and for them to be able to just find that information really simply.
Fantastic. And with that in mind, Louise, we always ask every guest that comes on, is there any one piece of advice you'd have for the pupils of Perth Academy right now in these difficult times?
I think the kind of thing to say is it may not feel like it, but it will be okay, and that and what's kind of happening now will be an important part of your life, but it shouldn't be something that limits your life, okay? So you'll still have choices, there's still, things might be kind of difficult just now, but that doesn't mean that's fixed forever. And the last thing I'd maybe say is also, that be there for kind of each other, and you'll already be doing this, but, that kind of sense of helping other people or being really, looking out for each other and looking out for your family members, which you'll be doing anyway. Keep doing that, because that's a great thing, and that's something really positive that you can do during this time.
That's great, really great to hear. So with that, we will move on to the quickfire questions section.
So Louise, we were just wondering what your favourite film is.
My favourite film, that's quite a hard one. It's probably, I'm a bit of a Marvel movies fan, so I just like kind of watching that for just to watch it. It's not really, it's just good fun, basically. But I do love, there's a film called City of Angels by Wim Wenders, which is about angels that come back to Earth, and it's really, really beautiful, and it's beautifully shot, because I love photography, so I love films that are really beautifully shot.
What is your favourite holiday destination, Louise?
Oh, probably somewhere I've not been yet, because I love to travel. So I'm desperate to go to places like Canada and so on. But I did go to very, very north of Norway, and then up into kind of into the Barents Sea, and saw the Northern Lights and all the rest of it. So essentially into the Arctic Circle, and I really, really love that. So now I want to go to Antarctica. I want to do the other pole.
Brilliant. What is one thing that has inspired you this year?
This year, so maybe over the past year, I would say how much young people have wanted to help and be part of making things better during this pandemic. Every young person that Young Scot has spoken to and been involved with, the first thing that they want is to figure out how to help people right now, but also make it better for others in the future. And that's every single young person that I've met. And I think that's really, that for me just demonstrates how amazing young people are, how compassionate and how caring, and how much young people want to make a difference. And I've just seen that everywhere I've looked over the past year, and it's given me quite a lot of hope, actually. Like everyone, I've had tough moments, but that gives me lots of hope.
That's great. What is one thing you would love to do that you have never done?
I would like to go on the Orient Express. I'd like to do the whole dressing up, posh dinner, everything, the works. So yeah, I think the Orient Express would be what I would love to do. What's
your biggest tip for success?
Do what you love, really. Just do the thing that makes you feel passionate, and do something where you can see that you're making a difference. Yeah, because if you can see that, then you know, it kind of, you can see how you're contributing and making a difference to things. And that doesn't have to be in work, that can be through volunteering, or whether that's through sport or other kind of activities that you're involved in.
And finally, Louise, to wrap it off, the final question: dinner party, 3 guests, dead or alive, who are you picking?
Oh wow, that's a great question. I would love to have Maya Angelou, because I think she's just wonderful, and I love everything that she's written. There is a poet who sadly died only the year before last, called Mary Oliver, and I adore her poetry, and I'm a big poetry fan, so I would definitely have her. And I think, who would be a good match for them? I think I would also have Chimamanda Ngozi, who's also an author, a brilliant author, and I think she would be fabulous, and she's worth checking out if you've never read any of her stuff. Right,
well, that brings us to the end of the interview. Louise, thank you so much again for being on.
Pleasure, thank you. Thanks for having me along, and it's a great that you're doing this series. It's a brilliant idea, so I'm delighted to take part. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you to Tom.
My pleasure as well. I've enjoyed every minute of it.
And we will be back next week with another guest. As per usual, you can follow us on Twitter at Academy SPLT, on Instagram at Perth Academy SPLT. You can follow Young Scot across all the different social medias. Louise, you can follow on Twitter. And we will see you again next week with another video.